Hi, ABA community, and welcome to the 10th episode of the Radical BCBA. I'm excited to be back. I know it's been a minute, but I did do a couple of episodes back to back. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give myself like a week and a half, some time off to refresh and maybe just like get through life so I can have more to talk about. Maybe I have to like reflect a little bit on a TikTok that I've made, which is what I just did recently. I posted a TikTok yesterday. And I really want to talk about it because it's actually going viral. And so I guess sometimes you do have to be very, very careful on how you send a message because it definitely can be interpreted in different ways. This is why communication is hard for everyone, y'all, even for adults. The way we interpret communication, the way we communicate in general, right? Very, very different. So this TikTok is me printing out my son's 504 plan and a couple of letters relating to accommodations that I would like him to be able to do, right? Or for them to be able to respect. I understand first day of school, it's hard. From the comments that I'm seeing, teachers are like, we don't even get access to this right away. Like, I love everyone sharing their perspective because I get to learn more and I get to see it. And I always think about other people's perspective. That's how I've always been. I try to analyze the big picture. But at the end of the day, I did this because my son had taken some headphones to cancel out some noise because he's very sensitive to it. And let me tell y'all, I have worked very hard to teach him how to advocate for himself. He gets nervous. He doesn't know who to go to because depending on their response, he may not do it again, right? Positive reinforcement, y'all. And a lot of people don't know about that, but we do in this field, right? The way he had explained things was that he tried to put them on, but they were removed. Again, I don't know if he was playing with them, chewing, throwing them, whatever. Like that's just my thought. Like, I don't go straight to, oh no, I'm gonna go talk to the teachers or the principals. Like, I don't go there yet. I tried to talk about it and he just I could tell he felt very frustrated. And then I asked him like, okay, was there other instances where you found certain areas very loud? Yeah, the lunchroom. So it's like for him to still identify like, hey, I was uncomfortable in certain situations. I'm kind of like, I still want it to be available, right? I still want him to have access to it, even if it was removed one time. A lot of times with my son, let me explain a little bit, he gets discouraged in some of those moments. And with that being said, I want to support him in those challenging times, right? I wrote this letter very respectfully. And you know what? I was very proud that I was able to sign it under BCBA because I want them to know I analyze behavior. I want them to know that this is carefully crafted and to respect that. Those are his accommodations, period. And I've been liking the comments. So I've had parents in there, they're like, I do this every year. They walk in with these, letters and 504s because I think they've also realized that teachers don't have access to this. So it's like, why not accommodate to everyone, to your child and to the environment that they're going to be in? You're basically supporting everyone, right? And so people are taking it like in an ugly way, I guess. Maybe it's because of the way I said it. Like, my son's headphones were confiscated. So you write them a letter and print out their 504 and you get to write your credentials in BCBA or something like that. But it could look wrong, right? I'm sorry, my bad. Like, I was just trying to put a statement out there, but I'm really liking these conversations. I was replying back to a few of them, but at this point it's gotten out of control. And I'm just like, ooh, yeah, people are fighting for me. And I don't know what they're fighting for, but people are like, no, and yes, and no, and yes. And then you hear those like where you're like, you know what? I can tell you never work with children. I can tell you probably just someone out there trying to make your own opinion into this. It's insane, guys, but it's been fun. Sometimes I do get discouraged when I post something and it has, because I've had maybe like 4 or 5 videos actually go viral, like hitting sometimes 1 million views. And there's always negative everywhere you go, but I see a lot more positive than negative. I also seen that a few people say that it's pretty cringe to put my credentials, but at the end of the day, in this field long enough to know that I've come across doctors, therapists, psychologists who have never really taken anyone serious. Like, I could tell that they're not really as passionate about what they do like I am, because they're not sitting there to hear me out. They're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. And like, you never know how someone's home environment really is. I mean, can anyone really describe it if you're not in a field to understand behavior or the way things function around us? it's hard. If it's challenging for me to get someone to like hear me out, I could only imagine what others may have gone through. And so let me tell you, I advocate for myself, and y'all hear me in every episode. Like, I work where I want to work. I wear what I want to wear respectfully, especially if you're working in a field with kids or medical or whatever. But overall, the whole point here is accommodation really does make people happy in their environments. Support does. And so having that awareness from day one, it's going to avoid a lot of discouragement that my son may be already going through. This kid is in first grade. I think he has like 7 teachers. He's taking Mandarin as one of his language classes. Very proud of him. He is very capable of this. But the hard thing for him is this drastic change from kindergarten, eating in the same room, where things were kind of given to him, to now you're going to go from like one class to the next class to the next class. And then you have like how many teachers, and trying to remember everyone's name, the loud environment. He's already ADHD. He's anxious. Like, you could only imagine. So if I can at least remove one barrier for him, which is not being in intensive, loud environments, why not? Why not? Why can't I do that? And I'm glad y'all are here to hear this. And I know it's a lot of people that support me, but go look at the TikTok. If you haven't seen it, go look at it and just kind of see, like, there's always like a backstory. I am not that mom. I'm not the mom that's always like, bam, 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 here you go. But when I need to, I have to, because I've been in situations where my son was almost kicked out in pre-K, y'all. Remember, y'all heard this before, in pre-K, because he was not being accommodated. And let me tell you why. The principal was like, I know you need like a little daycare or something. Like, he can stay here for now, but do you think it's best for him to be here? I looked at her in disbelief. Me and my fiance, who is an OT, sat there like, imagine someone who felt discouraged by you most likely would have been like, yeah, let me get him out. And then what does that parent do next? They feel like they failed. Their child feels like they failed. What's next, y'all? It's just insane. Like, I think even experiencing that, I'm just kind of like, heck no. This mama's gonna be there day one. And let me tell y'all get to hear the actual answer that I got. So like I said, my son does have 7 teachers, but he does have like a main teacher that kind of does see him for most of the day, or not most of the day, but has, I think, like 2 classes, and I think he drops him off for lunchtime and things like that, so he's more involved, and it's a he. And he replied within an hour and a half from receiving that letter. And he even described to me that he's coming up to all his teachers and handing them to them. And guys, I'm so proud. We practice this. Me and my son practice. How are you going to hand them out? I don't want you to just stuff them in your backpack and then they get lost. Like, how? So one, I'm so proud. I'm so proud it got to someone. I'm just like in tears. I'm not lying, in tears. And then he proceeds to tell me, like, it wasn't me. I don't know who it was. But yeah, like, thank you for that. Like, thank you for giving me that update, and all that. And then I apologized. I was just like, I'm sorry. Like, because I don't know, you never know the way someone may interpret that, right? And I just say, I'm sorry, we're not hovering parents. I promise you, like, we're just accommodating for him. I gave him a little background story on him, because he is one of his main teachers, and just to be on the lookout. Like, he can get distracted. He can. So set those boundaries. I let him know straight up. Set those boundaries if you need to. Like, I'm sure he knows. He sounds like a great teacher. So I feel like I don't even need to give him too much, but I gave him enough for him to understand. And at the end of the day, he tells me, he goes, I am a parent myself, and I would have done and have done the same thing that you have done for your children. And that is advocating for them. And I'm in tears, y'all. I'm reading this email in tears, because transitioning one to a new school, this is a 3rd school, went to a school in pre-K, went to a different school in kindergarten, and then that school closed. He was supposed to be there forever. That's what I thought. So then now he's in a new school, and I am just so proud of him. Like, I even get my voice even gets shaky when I try to talk about these things, because it really is a lot. It really is a lot with having someone who struggles the way you do. I've struggled like this my whole life, and I came to that realization that I had to accommodate to myself, to pull myself out of this depression, you know, and to feel like I can do something, like I can be successful, like I can meet expectations, but of course with my accommodations. And this is why I thrive in that, and I thrive supporting others in that, because I saw what it did for me. And I'm so thankful that I've learned about that and I could do that for them now. I could just tell that he's very passionate about what he does, just like I am. And it feels so good to meet people like that. It really does. Anyways, let's move on to a different topic. I kind of wanted to share a little bit about how it's been going being a BCBA and supervising and like my role on this other end. And I was talking to my fiance and I was telling her like, it's just so different to observe therapy happening in front of me and like kind of guiding, you know, this adult, right, the RBT, on do this or do that and do that. Because to me, my brain, the way it's processing, this is what y'all need to know, like the way my brain's processing is like, I just want to know their response, the child's response, my client's response. That's why a lot of times I explain to RBTs, like when I tell you to do something, it's not because you're doing it wrong. It's not because I didn't like the way you did it. It's because I am legit telling you to do that so I can just see what response we're going to get. Half the time we're gathering information too. Half the time we're observing just to find the answer. And so sometimes we got to throw in little things here and there to see, does this work better? Do they like this way? Should we say it in different, you know, phrases, words, whatever? Is that easier for the, like my brain's just running and running. I'm like, do this or say that, or I model or I demonstrate or whatever, right? And I had to explain to the RBTs the other day, I was like, it's not because y'all are doing it wrong. I just want to know what works best to make programming about that, to adjust, you know, anything that I need to adjust about communication or anything, right? And so I promise you, like, I'm not nitpicking. I'm not like saying that's wrong. Like, I think we all kind of been in a situation where we are being micromanaged, and so like we're scared, we're walking on eggshells, and trust me, my RBTs do not ever feel that way with me, but sometimes I still like to share that so they understand that what is my brain thinking when I do that? And they're responding well to it. They're like, yeah, you know, they're so good at flowing into it too, because I've made them feel comfortable enough in our sessions. Like, I don't want them to feel like, oh my God, heart attack, like when should I do it? You know, you start to analyze that too. I'm thinking as a direct therapy person, because I provide direct therapy as well. And so I'm sure you're just trying to find that smooth way in without making it seem, you know, weird or like robotic or anything like that. So trust me, like, I think one, providing this like chill environment and calm environment and explaining to RBTs like what our ABA brains think, you know, what we know about science, the way that science works, it's actually helped a lot in that understanding that I'm not doing that. So then guess what? If it works, if I tell you to do something and it works, I'm going to be like, cool, keep it. Like, I like that vibe. Let me update this, right? Like sometimes I wonder what y'all think that we think, because it's just so random. I just tell you to do something, or like, hey, say it like this or try it like this. And then I get their response and I'm just like, you know, I'm typing, and it's funny because I'm legit like writing what I've just witnessed. Every person has a formula. So like, let me, like right now I'm just trying to find those formulas and just teach you about it once I learn about it too. Like we don't go in there knowing everything. We go in there to observe, to find functions, to find what the root of certain things are. If y'all are listening, if you're an RBT, if no one's ever explained to you, a lot of times it is that. Because if it is about feedback, I can provide that for you later. Like if you really want to like talk about if there's anything you need, and I'm really good at providing feedback. I don't even think my like, I guess, quote unquote negative feedback even sounds bad, to be honest. I'm just kind of like, oh, you know, I give examples as to like, hey, maybe try like this next time and see how it feels. Because guess what? Then they use it, RBTs use it, and they're like, it worked. I really like that. I'm gonna put that in my toolbox. And it's cool to be able to collaborate like that and work together like that to create an environment, right, that is rich and everyone's learning, collaborating, you know, the child is growing and learning, and it is amazing. I have had such a busy week at work and I have been loving it so much. I am fully remote, but because I do have clients in the city that I live in, I've been able to go in person, and it really does make a difference. It's cool to see that perspective of being able to pair even with the client and them looking at me like, hey, I recognize you from the computer and from being here. And yeah, it's great. And I love modeling. Like, I think I'm finally starting to really misdirect. I remember I said, like, I'm done with my direct, but like, it feels good. It feels good to just get that moment to model something and the kid just looks at you. It's like a reminder of like all that direct treatment that I've done and all those moments that I have shared with my clients. And I'm like, I miss that. Like, I really, really do. I really do miss that. Now, let's get into our next segment. I wanted to introduce a special guest today. Her name is Elena, and she is my 10-year-old daughter. I wanted to kind of like ask the difference between her old school and the new school that she's going to, because we went from like, you know, having maybe like 1 or 2 different changes of classes in 4th grade. And now she has about 9 classes as a 5th grader, trying to adjust through that. And I've seen a lot of positive. It was a little scary at first. For me, I would say we're about to ask her how she feels. But here is Elena.
Hi, I'm Elena. This school is way different. It's harder to get classes, really hard. You have to like literally run, even though you can't run. I just tried my best not to run when no teachers were looking. Sprint running, because I don't want to get some random ass detention for some reason for getting late for class because I was going potty.
I feel like this is the first time you've even heard the word detention.
Anyways, my old school had a bathroom inside of my classroom, and I'm like, no, you have to actually run there. I'm trying to go to the bathroom, and I come back to history, class is over, and I'm like, what? Yeah. My friends tell me, hey, you gotta go to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
maybe we can get you like a watch so you can like look at your schedule and see what time it is, so you can reflect back and be like, oh, this is the class I need to be in, because she's also not used to having short classes. What are they, like 40 minutes long? So she like she explained, she goes into class, and all of a sudden she goes to potty, she comes back, class is over, and then she's like, wait a minute, what time is it? Is there any like clocks or anything in the hallway for you to know what time it is?
There is. It's like really hard to like calculate and stuff. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Like, do you actually look at your schedule?
Yeah, I don't look. I just look at random people's. But yeah. Anyways,
So you follow your friends. You're like, oh, I know that girl. Like, she's going to the right class.
Yeah, I just follow them.
In the school that she used to go to, they did not have a cafeteria. It didn't click until I was like, wait, they don't even have a cafeteria. That means they don't even get fresh food. They would get like frozen, like I guess already frozen or like cold food, and then they would have to like microwave it. How different is it now experiencing a real like cafeteria?
It's better because it's like freshly made. And
yeah, that is one downside from her other school that she used to go to, is that they didn't have the cafeteria, but they also did not have lockers. And all of a sudden she's coming in here with lockers. She had to practice. How many times did you practice opening your lock?
100 times.
At least 100 times.
No, I'm dead serious. I have to.
Did you, by any chance, see any other kids struggling with their lockers?
Oh, yeah. Oh. A couple. And I'm like, hey, good job there.
Have you tried helping them?
No.
What? You just like gonna be a mascot in the back and say, good job, but I'm not helping you? That's so messed up, dude.
And they can figure it out. They got it.
Like, I don't even have time. I have to run to my next class.
No, legit, I have to. But
Yadi wants to enter too.
Elena, it's time for dinner, bro.
Oh my God! I have to finish something.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say thank you, Elena, for being here on my podcast. And what is something that you want to share to everybody?
Good luck with lockers. They're super hard.
All right, y'all. That does it for today. I have some recordings coming up, one on Friday, so I'm so excited for that one. And I'll be on top of it, y'all. Just keep sharing, liking, tell people about this podcast because it's fun. It's so fun, right? Let me know. Anyways, I will see y'all next time. Bye.